Some of the most dramatic action you'll find in the MSA British Rallycross Championship comes from the RX150s. Chrissy Palmer has been the man to beat for the last couple of seasons. The 2015 and 2016 champion has been quickest across the 3 rounds of qualifying heats, and he's on pole position as we get set for the final. Kirk Langley and John Ward, the nearest opposition. Grid is formed. Chrissy Palmer in the red RX150 on pole position. Kirk Langley middle of row 1. John Ward on the outside of the front row. Then it's Brett Harris and Adam Sargent lining up on the second row of the grid. And the third row is where you find former rally driver Georgia Shields in number 47, Jake Taylor and Larry Sargent accompany Mitchell Flaherty at the back of the grid. Lights go green, it's blast off. Good start made by John Ward from the outside of the front row. We go on board with Jake Taylor. Up through the gears, heading down towards Curvo Corner for the first time. But no surprise about the man who's in charge. Chrissy Palmer it is who hits the front. 1 or 2 go way wide, including one of the Sargents, Adam Sargent, I think that is, who's gone really wide into the gravel, and that throws him to the back of the pack as Chrissy Palmer leads the way. Second is John Ward. Onto the loose they go for the first time, and you can see just how hard it is inside the cockpit. Jake Taylor, work all the time. Chrissy Palmer then, former circuit racing star, won the Formula Ford Festival, raced successfully in Formula Ford and in Mazda MX-5s. His dad, Chris, former caterer and Formula Ford racer as well. And Chrissy leads the way. John Ward is second, and Kirk Langley, the Liverpudlian, the ex-kart racer, runs third. Performance per pound, RX150 Rallycross is great value for money. Great competitive racing. It's a shame in a sense we've not really yet seen Chrissy Palmer in, for example, a Rallycross supercar, because he's full of ability, and you can see that from the way that he's building a gap over the rest of them. The Sargents have got themselves together. Father is Larry, son is Adam. The two of them run nose to tail up towards Hawthorne. At the moment, Dad is ahead, but I think Sargent is going to be under attack pretty soon. Adam Sargent closing up onto the tail of his father. Chrissy Palmer leading the way, building this gap over the rest of them. And Kirk Langley now trying to work out where he can get past John Ward. The Irish driver, double BTRDA champion in 2015-2016. Drove then in a Peugeot 106, something very different here, but he is a very competitive driver, and the more familiar he gets with an RX150, expect him to be up there with Chrissy Palmer. Kirk Langley, though, looks for a way by, tries the inside at Clervaux, can't do it, and now they run nose to tail through Hawthorne. Kirk Langley is really hustling on now, desperately keen to get past John Ward, but because they're battling for second place, they're delaying each other and letting this man, Chrissy Palmer, get away. The gap is widening as he blasts across the loose once again. Ward second, third is Kirk Langley, but Chrissy Palmer sprints his way out of the hairpin, ticking off the laps now, getting ever closer to yet another win. Unbeaten all day, and this is Jake Taylor hustling on lower down the order, former rally driver. Junior rallycrosser in Swifts as well, comes up towards the timing line, and he's getting closer and closer to the pack ahead. Through Clervaux go the race leaders. There in 97 is Jake Taylor, taking Brett Harris with him. This is Taylor's view. Gets the back out of line as he flicks through the chicane. Meantime, Chrissy Palmer is getting closer and closer and closer to yet another win in RX150s. There, second is John Ward, knocking the tyres for 6, but he's got a way look from Kirk Langley. What was a battle second and third a little while ago has now really opened up. So can Ward do anything about Palmer, or is he running out of time? I fear he's running out of laps. John Ward bounces across the loose, back onto the tarmac now, down towards Clervaux. But Chrissy Palmer is already long gone. The gap widening over the rest of them, as there is Georgia Shields, student at the University of Bolton, engineering student, and a former rally competitor herself before coming into RX150s this year. 58, Adam Sargent, after his wild moment early in the race, regrouping and getting closer to the traffic ahead as Chrissy Palmer dances his way down towards the hairpin. The RX150 always trying to get away from him, but Chrissy work all the time, hangs on to it. There, Kirk Langley looking good for third place, although he has dropped quite a way back now from John Ward. Onto his last lap goes Chrissy Palmer. Look at the gap he's pulled, all identical machines. Second, John Ward. Third is Kirk Langley. They locked out the front row of the grid. They've locked out the top 3 places, albeit in a slightly shuffled order. Adam Sargent on the verge of another moment. He just about hands onto it, coming down towards the hairpin. Kurt Langley really hustling on out of Hawthorn. And again, oh so spectacular going into the chicane, but is that costing him a little bit of time? Either way, this man, Chrissy Palmer, is looking good up front. He's on target for yet another victory. Last year, he won every round of the championship, and he's going the right way about opening his account for this year because he has dominated all day long. Checkered flag is at the ready, and it's yet another trophy for Chrissy Palmer, who comes through to score victory in the opening round of the RX150 Championship. John Ward comes home for second, and Kurt Langley is set for third. Confirmation of the results. Chrissy Palmer wins by over 4 seconds from John Ward. Kurt Langley bags third ahead of Jake Taylor and Mitchell Flaherty, with Brett Harris in 6th place. For the championship, no surprise, Chrissy Palmer with a 3-point advantage over John Ward. Kurt Langley third from Jake Taylor, Mitchell Flaherty, and then Brett Harris rounding out the top 6.